So I want to be very clear at the top of this video. I don't care if you wear a mask. If you want to wear a mask, man. I will not judge you. I will not say, oh my God, that's a horrible person living in fear, though I think many people are. But just because you're wearing a mask doesn't mean you're necessarily living in fear. It could just be that you're more comfortable. It could be you want that extra precaution. It could be that you live in a place where you could literally get fined or can't go to the grocery store without wearing a mask. If you want to do it or if you need to do it, you will hear absolutely no complaining from me. However, I have been very vocal about my opposition to mandating that people wear masks. And I have a lot of different reasons that I am opposed to the mandate for people to wear masks, because I believe it should be a choice. It should absolutely be a choice. You don't get to decide what I wear on my body. And I'm pro-choice, man. I am pro-choice. I am very consistent about this. I do not believe that you should be able to tell me that I have to carry a child, particularly in cases of rape or incest. I absolutely am pro-choice on that matter. I am actually pro-choice, and this is a conversation I had with my husband the other day, and actually it came up in the comments section on my channel as well. I am actually pro-choice in cases of circumcision. I am not in favor of circumcising infants and that sort of thing. And I am not in favor of it being mandated that I have to wear a mask to leave my house. That's why I created this t-shirt just the other day. Yes, you can find it in my store if you want it. I actually ordered one for myself. I can't wait to get it, but I've gotten in a lot of trouble for this position, man. I've gotten in a lot of trouble for it. And I think that it's very interesting that I'm getting in trouble for it, being that I don't really leave my house all that much. I leave my house every once in a while to go to the supermarket, and then I come right back. I socially distance from people. I am 6 feet away from anyone else at all times, and if you're within 6 feet of me, it's because you put yourself there. You made the choice to do that. I wash my hands. I hand sanitize, all that stuff. I am exercising great personal responsibility, and as of yet, knock on wood, I haven't gotten sick. And you know what? Who knows? I'm actually not scared of getting sick. If I get sick, I get sick. If I do, whatever. Not that I'm trying to make that happen, but I'm exercising a great deal of personal responsibility. But I refuse to wear a mask unless I absolutely have to. Now, I'm actually getting on a plane in a couple weeks and going out to Los Angeles for something special that I'm not going to talk about just yet. I have talked about it. Some of you guys know about it, but that's not the case for this. That's not what we're talking about in this video. When I get on a plane to go to Los Angeles, yeah, I'm going to wear a damn mask because I have to get on the plane. Am I also going to be wearing this t-shirt while I'm wearing my mask? Am I going to have some messaging on my mask to express my outright disapproval of this being mandated? You bet your butt I am. Absolutely. Because I believe that expression is important. I believe that expression is a gift that we have been given. It is something that is an innate right of ours. And guess what, folks? When you're wearing a mask, that reduces your ability to express yourself. That is one of the absolute problems that I have with this whole affair, and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to lay out in this video my rationale for why I do not believe that masks should be a mandated choice. Now, I want to be clear at the top. It is not because I don't believe the virus isn't real. The virus is absolutely real. It has nothing to do with medical evidence. There is evidence on both sides. There is evidence that says wearing masks is a good thing and is going to protect you. There's also evidence to say that when you wear a mask, you fiddle with it and you put yourself in unsafe positions because it acts as a security blanket. There's evidence on both sides. I don't really care about any of that. That's not my primary position. My primary position really starts with The Handmaid's Tale, which is actually one of my favorite books. It really is. I have read the original, and actually I listened to the audio version mostly because the audio version is very, very good. I have listened to the audio version many, many times. It is a fantastic book. And what is so ironic about this whole thing is that The Handmaid's Tale, dressing up as one of the handmaids, it used to be as a way to protest Donald Trump, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this Donald Trump visit and brings these protesters dressed up as handmaids. This is how it all starts, as though Donald Trump is the authoritarian that we all need to worry about. Or how about this one? We're silent no longer. Silent no longer. Now, The Handmaid's Tale, the book, is different than the TV show. The first season of the TV show on Hulu, it follows the path of the book pretty well, but after the first season, the TV show was kind of off on its own. one of the things that happened, I believe it was in the 3rd season of the TV show, is they introduced the mask. They introduced this way to silence the women even more than they had already been silenced. And I actually remember when I first saw this, I had a visceral reaction to seeing Offred in the mask. I had a visceral, or June, I suppose I should call her, because the name's changed depending on who she's with. But I had a visceral reaction to seeing June in the mask. It hit me on a very deep personal level that this was about silencing, and that was one of the images of that show that has actually struck me more than others, and is the very first image that popped into my head when all of these mandated masks started being out there, because I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why people would willingly cover up the tool they use to express themselves. I didn't get it. Now, you're going to notice in these images, one of these images doesn't look like the other. Have you noticed the image that doesn't look like it? Literally, the president of Slovakia is basically dressed up here like she's in the damn Handmaid's Tale. This is the reality that we're living in. And this is not because of Trump. And it's not because of a virus either. This is because of little authoritarians wanting to mandate how people function in this new reality. And this, to me, is like silencing people, making people literally wear a muzzle over the thing they use to express themselves. That is honestly, to me, one of the absolute most offensive things in the world. And from a deeply spiritual level, because I'm a very spiritual person, I believe that the things that we wear impact how we show up in the world, how we present like all this stuff. It's not just about what we do in the world. There is a spiritual connection to this. Now, if you've never heard of chakras before, these are basically the energy centers of our body. And one of the goals that you should have when you're practicing in this type of spirituality and playing with it is you want to make sure all of your chakras are aligned and balanced. And all of our chakras, they relate to different things that help us create what we want in the real world. So we have our root chakra down at the very bottom. That's about practicality. That's about making things real in the real world. We have the sacral chakra a little bit up. That's about our creative energy. That's our sex energy. Literally what you do when you want to create another human being, right? We have our solar plexus chakra, which is like your gut. That's where your power comes from. That's where your personal strength comes from. That's where your drive comes from wanting to create something, make something big, go after what you want, not being afraid. We have our heart chakra, which is all about love. And it's also, the heart chakra is also the thing that connects the earthly part of us to the spiritual part of us. And we have our throat. Our throat. That thing we're covering up when we're wearing a mask. That is our throat chakra. That is how we express ourselves in the world. And make no mistake, people, the most powerful people in any social situation, are not the people with the biggest title or the most money or, the top of the org chart or any of these things. The most powerful people in any situation are the people that are expressing themselves. This covering up the tool that you're using to express yourselves, it is incredibly profound. And this is something for me that I know that part of the root of, or the part of the path that I have to take in order to be successful as a human being is to express myself. That's part of what I do professionally. If I wasn't expressing myself professionally, then I would not be able to have built the business that I have. It just makes absolutely no sense. So then why am I going to cover it up? Why am I literally going to cover it up? And the other thing is too, is when you cover yourself up, when you do this, when you cover up the tool that God gave you to express yourself, oh man, I'll tell you what. And listen, I'm not making a conspiracy theory here because I don't believe this is a conspiracy theory. I think this is just human beings being stupid. But let me play this out for you. Who benefits when people stop expressing themselves? Because if you have your mouth covered up for hours and hours and hours a day, I guarantee you are going to reduce the amount that you are expressing yourself. So who benefits from that? Who benefits? Well, organizations benefit, man. Organizations love it when people shut up and do as they are told. Organizations hate nothing more than someone who keeps speaking up and says, what about this? What about that? What about that other thing? You know the people who are most likely to get fired in any organization, and I've actually done massive studies about people getting fired in organizations. I've researched this. The people who are most likely to get fired are the ones that are speaking up when they shouldn't be, when the organization doesn't want them to be, when the boss doesn't want them to be. The ones that point out problems, the ones that said, why can't we do this? Why can't we do it? And the boss just wants to keep things the way they've always been. They're going to fire the person who says, well, why can't we try this new thing? Why can't we do it this way? Why can't we do it that way? Those people are dangerous. Those people rock the status quo. Organizations love it when people do not express themselves. Think about it in your job. Think about it. The safest people in any organization are just the people who they keep their head below water. They don't cause any trouble. They come in, they do the bare minimum to get by. Are those the people that ever get fired? The people that are just like, they come in, they just do their thing. They don't try to go above and beyond. They just do their the bare minimum to get by, and so they're pleasant and they never say a word about anyone. There's nothing wrong with doing that, by the way, but those people aren't expressing themselves. They aren't expressing what they think. They're kind of coming in, they're saying, yeah, a job's a job, whatever. I'm just going to do what I need to do to collect that paycheck. That's exactly what they're doing. Organizations love those people. They're much easier to control. But let's go beyond the workplace for a second. What about society? Wouldn't it benefit government for society to be more docile? Wouldn't it benefit the people that are in power to have people reducing the amount that they are expressing themselves? Wouldn't it reduce the number of people that are going to call them out on their BS? The number of people who are going to say, I don't like the way you're running things. That to me also is a very powerful thing in terms of government and society. Again, I'm not being conspiratorial here. This is just how I feel. I think that it benefits people in power when people who are not in power stop expressing themselves. But even more than that, again, this is a spiritual thing for me. This is a gift. All of our chakras, all of our energy centers, and we didn't even talk about the third eye, which is basically intuition. Crown chakra connects you with God. We didn't talk about all these things, but these are gifts that we've been given. These are gifts that we get because of our sheer right as a human being, because we were born. We get all these gifts. What does it say about your connection with God? No matter what God you believe in. And some of you probably don't, and that's fine too. But what does it say about your connection with God if you refuse to use one of those beautiful gifts that you were born with, the ability to express yourself? That's my biggest problem with the mass. That's my biggest problem, is I believe they're a way to control people. I believe they're a way to silence people. I believe they are a way that is going to prevent, maybe advertently, maybe inadvertently, I believe it is a way that is going to prevent a lot of people from expressing themselves and speaking up. And it's going to teach people. If we are wearing masks in the long term, it is going to teach people not to express themselves. And it's going to be a very subconscious thing. This is not something that's overt. It is so much more devious than that. It is so much more devious. And listen, man, again, I'm not as a conspiracy theorist here. I really just think that people don't know. I don't think they're thinking about this ramification. They're just thinking, oh, well, we don't want people to get sick. And that's fine, well, and good. But there are many other things that we can do to protect people from getting sick that do not involve mandating that people cover up the tool they use to express themselves for hours every single day. Every single day. I'm doing this for a minute or two, covering my mouth while I'm speaking, and it is already uncomfortable for me to do it. Can you imagine hours a day? Yeah, you're much more likely to be silent. You're much more likely to stop using that gift to express yourself that God gave you. And that to me is terrifying, and it is sad, and it is not something. I don't care how many of you try to guilt me or shame me. I do not care. I am not giving into this. I will not wear a mask unless I absolutely have to, and it should be my choice. It is not your choice. I will not tell you what to do. I will not tell you what you wear on your body or what you do. You are an adult. Presumably you're an adult. Go make your decision yourself, but it is not your job to tell me to cover up the tool that I use to express myself. No. And you know what the other thing is too, and I was just thinking about this last night. I have been through a community being taken over by social justice crazy people. I've been through that. Many of you have been through that too. And this whole thing with the guilt, the shaming that's happening, the freaking Karens that are reporting people, this whole thing reeks of social justice BS. You know, Mike Harlow posted this the other day on Facebook, and I think that I just want to read the very little bit at the top because I want you to understand where the far people on the left are going with this. And it says, it will be a long time before cities reopen. We've got to learn how to live like this, not just tolerate it, not just bear it, but to live our lives like this. Like maybe years, maybe generations. Generations? Living our lives by this? Like, are you insane? Are you actually insane to think that we are going to spend generations living like this? Why would you give up your freedom? Why would you do that? It makes absolutely no sense. Yes, the virus is a scary thing. It is scary. People who get it die. It is a very real thing. I am not trying to downplay that. But why would you make the choice to give up your life? Give up this gift that you have been given to stay locked in your house or wearing a mask or going where you're told and not going like where they tell you can't go, even if you're paying taxes to upkeep those things. Why? How many people's lives are going to be ground to a halt? And I'm telling you, man, the way that people are treating people like me who just say like, I don't want to wear a mask, you do you. It reeks of social justice crazy. And what I mean by that is this. People from the SJW side of the world, they try to control your thought. And the tactics that I'm seeing around these masks, the things that I hear, I mean, over and over again, it is the same language. It is the same tactic that I saw the SJWs in the knitting world using to try to control your language and to try to control your thought. I don't know why this is such a big deal. I don't know why you're pushing back on it. Why don't you just say it like this? It's just going to make people more comfortable. This is an article from a series in the Post-Millennial. In cults and the social justice movement, the cult is always right. Let's see what they had to say. Within a cult, the cult doctrine is sacred. It can never change. It can never be criticized. This is true even when the doctrine contradicts itself. So when I've seen this with people who are arguing against people like me who just want masks to be a choice, they're saying, well, Carlin, you, how dare you say that people shouldn't wear masks? I had someone earlier today when all I have literally said is it should be my choice, it should be your choice, said I was advancing conspiracy theories over this, when I have advanced no such conspiracy theory. I've just said it was a choice. And, you know, there is something contradictory about, like, people saying, I know a mask isn't going to protect me from getting sick, it's going to protect you from getting sick if I'm sick. Well, if it's not going to protect you from getting sick, then why are you wearing it if you're not sick? And yeah, I get there's an incubation period, but you know, here's the other thing is like anytime I say that I don't want to wear a mask, you know what they do is they go right into educating me. They say, well, Carlin, don't you realize that is a 14-day incubation period where you might not even have symptoms? They go right into educational mode, which is exactly what SJWs do, man. That's exactly what they do. If you don't do what they want you to do, they educate you and they try to inform you about why what you're doing is wrong. You think I don't know that it has a 14-day incubation period? You think I don't know that? It has literally been on the news every GD day for months. You think I don't know? You think I just need to be educated? Please, I can think for myself, man. This article goes on to say, and we're not going to read the whole thing, but you can look it up and read the whole series. It's a great series. If you criticize or complain, the leaders or peers allege that you are defective, not the organization. In this closed system of logic, you are not allowed to question or doubt a tenet or rule or to call attention to factual information that suggests some internal contradiction within the belief system. So the other day I posted on my Facebook, like the study that the Surgeon General of the United States was citing, saying that people are actually more likely to get the virus if they're wearing a mask because they fiddle with it and it gives them a false sense of security. So they're actually more likely to put themselves in positions that they shouldn't be in, that'll get them infected. And, you know, that's legitimate data. That is legitimate information. Oh no, we aren't allowed to consider that information because it contradicts other data. I mean, so there's already a prescribed, or rather an accepted set of data around this, and we aren't allowed to question it. Otherwise, we're outside of the goddamn cult. But if you dare to oppose, let's see, for example, let's look at Antifa. Antifa is infamous for violence against people they disagree with, so much so that in an all too predictable move, they threatened violence at UBC in order to shut down an event discussing their violence. Since then, they've also assaulted a Democratic Socialist politician in Texas, and that's just in the last couple weeks. And I think most of you watching this video understand the violence that's produced by Antifa, so we don't need to go into a full in-depth explanation of that here. But if you dare to oppose Antifa for this behavior, you will quickly be admonished as a fascist. And this is exactly what happened to me with the damn mask issue. If I said my body, my choice, if I say I don't want to wear a mask, but you can do whatever you want, I'm quickly admonished as a goddamn conspiracy theorist or someone that's not taking precautions. Dude, I barely leave my house. I take precautions every day. Every time I do leave my house, I'm carrying a car full of hand sanitizer. I'm not going near anyone else. I am very, very careful in my movements because I don't want to get sick. But so why is it assumed that I'm all just going to be spreading the virus around like wildfire? Like, I'm not sick, man. I went to goddamn CPAC where there was someone that had the virus. I've been on airplanes. I'm going to be on airplanes again. I haven't gotten sick yet. This is not some sort of abstract fantasy. I've taken common sense precautions that have not involved wearing a mask once. I have not worn a mask once, and I have yet to get sick. Magic, I suppose. Of course, the idea is that we should judge a group by their name rather than by their actions is ridiculous. The use of the label as a means of defense also illustrates a cult manipulation strategy of language loading. There's a lot of language loading going on right now too, by the way. But remember, you are always wrong. The cult is always right. If you speak up against masks, you are wrong because the cult is right. Because the fear-mongering that has gone on in the media have led us to this point. We are actually engaging in cultish behavior around this issue. And that is the thing. I am way more terrified of that than I am of the virus. I'll tell you what, I am far more terrified of the Karens that are running around reporting people, of the mayors that are locking down their cities, of the governors who are spreading lies about people who protest them. I am way more scared of that than I am of getting the virus. I will take my chances with the virus. I am extremely low risk of dying from it. But the rest of this terrifies me. Of course, we have the case of biological men competing against biological women in women's sports. Of course, women's sports were invented to give women a level playing field on which they compete, since women simply aren't competitive with men in terms of muscle mass, height, weight, bone density, lung capacity, etc. But women who speak out against biological males competing in female sports are told they are the problem. So I've just given you a couple examples. Antifa and women's sports, where if you speak out against what the SJW crazies want you to do, you are the problem. And now I'm seeing this directly every single day because I designed a damn t-shirt, because I'm selling a damn t-shirt with a pro-choice message of all things, and now all of a sudden I'm an evil conspiracy theorist that just wants grandma to die. You know what? Go screw, man. Go screw. I have very good reasons for not wanting to wear a mask, and I'm not putting anyone in danger. And will I wear a mask when I get on an airplane in a couple weeks to go to Los Angeles? Yes, because I have to. And I'm not going to be that type of dick, but am I going to wear this t-shirt at literally the exact same time? You better believe it, because the thing of it is, you know, we have a right to speak out. We have not lost our right to free speech yet, and we have been given the gift of expression from God. And I will be damned. I didn't lose it. I shouldn't say I lost it. That is not the correct word. I gave up my gift of expression for years. For years. And it only came back after my article went viral, and all of a sudden I was like, well, whatever. Like, why not just say what you think? And then I found it again. I'll be damned if I'm giving it up again simply because you're afraid that you're going to get a virus that you will probably live from. If you don't want to be close to me, if you're afraid of someone who's not wearing a mask, then stay the F away, man. I'm not going to go near you. I'm not going to go within 6 feet of you. Why would I? Why would I? Because just because I think that wearing a mask is dumb does not mean that I'm going to get you sick, and it does not mean that I'm carrying the virus. Like, we're becoming... You know what the other thing about this is we're becoming afraid of each other. I don't know how we come back from this if we are actually afraid to be around one another. How many people are going to develop agoraphobia as a result of this? How many people are never going to get married because they're afraid to date? How many people, how many kids aren't going to be born because we're going to be reducing the amount of marriages that come? I mean, there's so many far-reaching implications of this, and the fear that will absolutely happen as a result of the fear-mongering, and I don't even think we've begun to understand those implications. So that's why I won't wear a mask unless I absolutely have to, and yeah, that's my position. And if I get evidence to make me rethink this, hey man, I will admit it. But no one so far has given me any evidence to convince me that you should get to tell me what I wear on my body, and that you have given me a good reason to cover and muzzle myself and take away my ability to express myself. Because if I'm uncomfortable physically expressing myself, then it's not going to happen. And that's not just true of me, that's true of you. So those are where my values are. Expression is one of my core values. And that's why I believe this absolutely should be a choice. You do you, wear a mask if you want to, whatever. You won't hear any judgment from me, but stop forcing your ideas on to me. Stop trying to control what I do with my body.